Seneca, Natural Questions, Book 5.6. De Aqua Deco. Normally you see things like nay for questions or non-a or something. This is called a question of emotion or something like that. Why am I speaking about water? Now, fire, which consumes everything, it's got to be a typo, it creates Quaestiones, it creates certain things. And what seems not possible to be seen, very similar, what doesn't seem to be true, nevertheless it is true. Looks like animals are generated from fire. I don't think if we're talking about cows and things. I think it's talking about small things that are animated. Anyway, therefore then, it has the same force, vital, I think it's talis in the other version. Air is the nominative. So air has the same sort of vitality, or talis if you read the other variation. And it's for this reason that modo, sometimes it's thick, and sometimes it expands itself, and it purges things out. I guess by moving, things are purged. They can be blown away, or if they're heavy, they sink. And it contracts itself and other things. Diducate leads aside or separates things, and it differts. Ergo, therefore, hoc interest. This makes a difference between the air and wind, which is what's between a lake and a river. So if you look at the difference between a lake and a river, it's the same sort of thing between air and wind. Aliquando. Sometimes the sun, by itself, is the cause of the wind. I think I said that the other day, but I don't know if it's using the same reasoning. What have we got? Funding and explicans. These are present participles. So the stiff air, as we've seen from a daily dictionary some other time, this is a alternate singular accusative. So stiff air from its dense and forced together air. So sometimes the sun causes this wind when the stiff air pours out and it's expanding, etc. 7.1. Universum. So universally was spoken about winds. Now viritum, which means man by man, literally, or one at a time, will begin to shake out these things, to discuss them. Perhaps it will be apparent in which way they happen, in the way that they form. If, when they appear, quendos when, and undis from where they proceed. So, to talk about them, it's going to be when and how they happen and from where. First, then, let us look at these blasts of winds which happen ante-Lucanos, before dawn, and which either come from streams or from valleys, or are carried from some sinew, which would be like the edge of the ocean, the way it curves around in a bend at a harbour or bay or whatever they call it. Daily dictionary I set up here. So deferro is when the wind was carrying off in different directions, giving way. And I set up air as well, which was seen before. The usual accusative would be aerem. It's Greek type, which has the, looks like a neuter, but it's actually a singular. Back to the plot. 7.2. None from these sources, are long-lasting. They're not pertinax, but they fall now already when the sun's stronger, and neither do they go beyond the sight of the earth. I guess that's a human looking over the earth. Don't think we're talking about outer space. Anyway, this genus, which is neuter, this type of wind, it incipits, it begins in spring, and doesn't endure beyond summer. And then maxime it comes, especially it comes, when there is plurumum est, when there is a lot or many of mountains and water, when there's a lot of water and mountains. The plains, although they're abundant in water, they're lacking aura, which is a breeze. This, I say, in which is said to be strong enough as a vento, as a wind. 8.1. Therefore, how is such a blast of wind conceived? which the Greeks call, I don't know, eggplant, whatever that is. The Loeb says it means a Gulf breeze. Anyway, so whatever there is from the marshes and the streams, which come out of them, moreover, these are much and continuous. Through the daytime, this is the alimentum. This is what nourishes the nourishment of the sun. I don't know how exactly the wind nourishes the sun, but this is 2,000 years ago. By night, these are not drawn out. They're not exhausted or drained. They include them. So I guess that's neuter. It's shut in by mountains, and it collects together, here we go, at night into one region. When it's implevited this, when it's filled this, and yam non means no longer it's capacious, doesn't have the capacity to take any more, it exprimatur, it pushes it out somewhere and proceeds into one direction. This is wind, this is called wind. And so, eo quo, where it incumbents, where it broods or it sits out, it's invited to where more freely it can come out, make an exit. And all these things coactivated, these things that are heaped up, they run out into this place which there's laxity, or it's loose, a loose place where it can come out. The argumentum est hubis rei. So an example of this Gulf breeze, we'll call it, is that in the first part of the night, these airs don't breathe out. For this collection, this gathering, this coactivata, this big mass, only begins to happen, which around daybreak, when at light, now it is full. So we're saying all these airs gather during the night. All burdened up, it seeks to where it can defluate, where it can come out. And it most preferably, it'll make its exit in this place where there's a lot of vacant space, where it is great and open area. Moreover, you can add to this that the rising of the sun striking stimulates, okay, so that's the accusative again, the cold air. Okay, so the sun striking the cold air, stimulating it, for even before the sun appears, it is strong in the, I guess, the first light you can see it before the sun comes over the horizon, and it's not yet impelling or pushing the air with its rays, but nevertheless, it's already provoking and irritating with the light that it's sending out in advance. So the sun, I don't think the light does anything. I think it's the heat that actually causes hot and cold air to meet and make winds. But anyway, this is Seneca. 8.3. For when the sun itself proceeds out, alia correlatives, some of this air is seized up, rapionted, and taken up superior, up high, and others defunded or poured out from the heat. For this reason, and not beyond morning time, is it given to them to flow. All the forces of these in the sight of the sun are extinguished. Even if they blast away these winds a bit more violenter, nevertheless, around the middle of the day, they relanguescet, they become weak and languid. Nor does ever do these airs produced to go out beyond the middle of the day. However, moreover, some are more imbeciles and brevier, so they're weaker and shorter, just as their causes, gather them up, can be from stronger or weaker sources.